Hello friends, this is Cara-Renee with B.Reborn Art and Healing, coming to you with a new project. I had mentioned it in a previous video that I had purchased some digitals that I absolutely fell in love with. They are right up my alley. Pink rose, shabby softness, just like captured my heart. So we're going to make a file folder folio. Now the inspiration for this project came from Jeanne, I believe is her name, over at InkyOwlStudios, and she actually got the idea from someone else, I think Artie Mays, and I can't remember the other person that she said, but I want to make sure I give credit to where I watched it, which was at InkyOwlStudios. So she's a fantastic follow, you guys. Super clear, not a lot of, you know, like she just gets to the point. But she's friendly and she's kind as well. So that's where I got the inspiration. So this is probably going to be a two-parter, maybe more. We'll see how it goes. But I want to talk about the digitals here first. So the digitals are from French Cottage Shabby. That is Daisy over there. And these are the pieces I've already prepared for our folder. I'm going to show you how to construct this, but we'll talk about that in a second. But I purchased all of the kits that had this feel to them. So you can see kind of how many pages that is just by looking at the depth of the printing. I've obviously cut into probably 6 or 7 pages already, but what I love about it, I'm not going to read this because I actually cut it off because it's A4 size, and I enlarged it so that I could have an 8.5 inch tall piece. So, but it's this beautiful story about that's behind the digital creation, and it's absolutely heartfelt and very touching. So I encourage you to take a moment to read that when you go out to her shop. But let me just flip through some of these pages just so you can see what I think they're upside down, what we've got here. So look at that, beautiful. And I love how she's put blue into it as well. Boy, we're going to be going back and forth here, I think. Sorry, guys. There we go, some ephemera bits, more background, just stunning, stunning work. And look at this, I love the edges on this, so cool. So we'll be using some of that to decorate. I'll probably be doing some coffee dyeing on the back of the of some of this paper. More ephemera, background, more ephemera. Look at that. Pink roses are my absolute heart and soul, you guys. So I lost someone a long time ago, and I've always associated pink roses and that softness to her. So yeah, that's incredible. And look at this one. Is that just divine? And then it's got the Paris stuff in it too, which is, again, right up my alley, very, very dear to my heart. And look at the shoes. Aren't those so cute? I may print these again and do resize them so that I can make some tags and stuff to go in the pockets. So more ephemera. Look at this sewing machine. I think this is this a pocket? I know, I can't tell. What is that? Because of the edge, the softness at the edges, it's kind of hard to tell, like on this one, actually what it might be, but it's beautiful nonetheless. More background. Now these ones were in the ephemera, mostly kit, so you can see how they're printed A4. So I didn't choose these to cover my folio because they were too short, but we'll be able to make use of them. More ephemera. I mean, look at this. This is her own artwork, you guys. Gifted, very gifted individual. I hope that you'll go over and check her out. I'll link all the kits and all of her information down below in the video description. So more background, more ephemera. Look at this. Oh, it's so pretty. So, oh my goodness, look at that. So divine. Look at all those little dresses. So precious. Little ballerina. So really, really gorgeous. Look at that. Isn't that just a pop of color? Just gorgeous. I love that. More. I love this too, this kind of collage look page. And then again, oh, the bicycle. Oh, so beautiful. And then this is more of the information on from the creator about the creative experience and about the memories and the personal experiences that are a part of the creation of this. So Grandma Sophie, and it's just, oh, so beautiful. And then this one was part of the other set, but look at those birds, so precious. So that is what we're working with. So without further ado, we're going to get going to the construction here after I talk a little bit about something else here. So what I like to do is I like to prepare all of my panels before the video. So we're going to be using this one to decorate, but I'm going to show you how to make one, and I'm just going to set that one aside because I want to make sure none of my folds are different, because this has already been cut for my piece, or my pieces have already been cut for this actual folio. So you can see kind of how it works. This is an added piece, which we'll do on camera, and it opens up like this. And we've got this kind of file folder. I did completely copy this from InkyOwlStudios. Now, she did something different with this section. I'm going to do 3 pockets, but she did kind of a fold down thing and did like a policy closure kind of situation. I didn't choose to do that. I might put a belly band here and here. We'll see when we get to the decorating part in another video. So, and she put this added file folder part because it wasn't originally there because of the part of the file folder that we're using and how it folds. But she showed us how to cut this off of another file folder and just glue it on, which I love that. So we're going to be doing that. So all the seams are reinforced with Tyvek paper. So this is just some from a package that I received. So I set this aside so that we'll have some bits to make ours as well. And then so we can set this aside now because we're ready to do the construction here. I'm going to set all these bits aside. Everything has been inked and cut. And basically what I did is I just, like for this piece, I just set my piece of paper under it. I traced around and then I just hand cut it out. I don't really care for the persnicketiness of trying to leave an edge here. I don't care for that myself. File folios are not complicated to make, but they are very time consuming. So I just made sure that most of my stuff is going to go right to the edge. That was easier for me. So that's what I did. So these again are all ready for that. So what you're going to need, let me just get some stuff out of the way here because we're going to need to measure and stuff. So if you have a regular scoreboard, you won't need to measure to figure out where you're going to score, but because of my I have this combo cutter and scoreboard, so I don't have that boxy kind of landscape to work with to do that. So I'm going to use my my pencil and ruler to measure. So you want 2 file folders if I didn't already mention that. So I'm going to set that aside. And so you're going to open it up like this, and you want your tab to be open over to the right. And then we're going to go ahead and measure 3 7/8 inches from this tabbed part of the left hand side. So I'm just going to move my ruler up and I'm going to make a mark that is 3 7/8. The first time I did this, I did 5 7/8, so I couldn't figure out what was wrong, but it's 3 7/8 right there. And then you're going to, this is going to be a natural score right here on this first the first factory fold here. So this is your main one, and then you want the one that's farthest to the left. And then from this point over, what she did is she measured. Now her file folders were different because I tried to do it as she did. I apologize, it feels so dark in here. I'm not sure why. So I didn't do it that way. I basically took this and folded it over. You want this edge to come not quite up to this deeper factory fold score. So I just kind of went like this, and I just I'm trying to line it up on the bottom here. You guys can see that. I want it even there, and I'm going to pull it back a little bit because I don't want it to be completely up to that, because you want it to have room to move, to open and close. So I'm just going to do that, and I'm just going to press like that. Okay. And I did notice, I'm sure that file folders are not perfect, so I did have some crooked edges even though I was lining everything up. So I'm going to do a soft press there and up, and then we'll score it with the bone, or burnish it with the bone folder, like so. Okay. So we should be good there. I just want to make sure that this is going to close without problem. Now you want another score line just to the right of this. So I'm going to make a mark. I did about 1/8 of an inch. I think that's what she did as well, just to create a little bit of room and a gusset there for any expansion in the folder. So we're going to go ahead and set this in here, and I'm going to score, not cut, score there, and I'm going to go ahead and score the one that we did as well, just to get that nice and solid. Okay, and then we're going to move over to this, sorry guys, it's hard, I'm trying to, and I'm going to close the curtain or the shade, see if that helps. It feels too dark, not too light, but everything is on in here. Let me turn over one more line up. Maybe that will help. It's beautiful sunny day out there, so I'm not sure why the room is so dark. It's very strange. Okay, so I'm so sorry that I'm off camera a little bit here. So we're going to go ahead and use the score here to score that factory score line as well, and then we're going to come over one more and score on our first measurement, which was the 3 7/8. So there we go. Okay, so I like to go ahead and do the second scoring first before I start really, folding all this up. So the next step is to take your folder, and I wanted my pages to be 8 1/4. I want my folio to be 8 1/4 inches high. So I'm going over here, and I'm putting my measurement up there, and then I'm going to move this over. I know you guys are having trouble seeing. There we go. Because I want to mark it over here. I don't want to be too far from my measurement. So I'm going to mark at 8 1/4, and I'm going to mark on this side rather than the other side. Okay, so that's where our fold is going to be. So I did this a couple of times, and focus. And because I'm this will make more sense in a second. I'm flipping this over to fold this so I can see my mark, and then I forgot to flip it back. So I'm going to be mindful of that this time. So I'm going to flip this over for the sole purpose of being able to see my pencil mark. Okay, so my pencil mark is right here. So I'm eyeing this center section too, because I want it to be straight. Okay, so I'm just gonna hopefully get that in order there, and there we go. Oh, I forgot to cut off these edges, so I'll talk about that in a second. And then just give that a nice finger soft press there, and then we can use the bone folder to do that more. So the other thing I did on my other one is I don't like these edges. I totally agree with Jeanne that this little nubby part is just difficult to work with, so I cut it off by just cutting a sliver off the top and the bottom, but we didn't do that in this case. So this is where I was wrong, and I'm like, why is this backwards? So then I'm going to fold this back over because I want it on this side, and then let's go ahead and give it a good crease. And you guys, she did a fantastic job on the tutorial. I usually have to watch those tutorials several times before it kind of cements in my head, and I did not have to do that. I did watch it twice, once while I was just watching, and then the second time when I was doing my first kind of prototype. So there we go. So now we want to cut off excess here. We're going to have a pocket here and pockets here. And then we don't need this. You could leave it, but it's problematic for bulk, in my opinion. So I'm going to put a X there, and we don't need this, and we don't need this center section. This was super helpful in her tutorial as well. So I did have to, as she mentioned, you do have to fuss a lot with this cutting in here because it just is finicky for some reason. So I'm going to go ahead and you want to cut, so when you open this up and you're cutting off this panel, you want to come to the inside here. So we're going to come to the inside of that score line. Okay. And just cut all the way to that fold. Okay. And then we're going to cut this off, and this can just be on the actual score line. Just try to get it straight if you can. I had to trim some off because it got a little bit wonky. So not too bad. Not too bad. Now you can save these. I didn't end up using these. I'll use them for something else, maybe for little tags or something as a base. So, and then the same here, we're going to go to the inside. So we want to go inside here and inside here for cutting on our score line. We're not cutting this one off. We're leaving this on, cutting this off. So again, I'm going to go to the inside of that score line. That's the factory fold. Kind of hard to do this on camera. And again, because it's big, so I'm having trouble holding it. There we go. And if you get too far in, it's not a big deal. You know, it's not a big deal at all. There we go. Make sure we get it far enough up so I can snip that off the rest of the way. Perfecto. Hopefully. Try to get the scissors in there. There we go. Another thing with one of my prototypes, I ended up weakening this area here, so be super careful if you can. So again, we're leaving this one, so we want to go on the inside of this score line here. Okay, so right here. Whoa. I'm giving a little bit more room than I probably need to, but yeah, so we're leaving that one. I almost cut it off. Goodness gracious. Okay, here we go. Alrighty, easy peasy. So I did, as she did, I did cut this part off just so you don't have that extra little nubby bit. So we're just gonna, you could use, she showed like how to use a craft knife and whatever, but I'm just gonna snip it and hope for the best. So then there is your construction. So let's go ahead and do some folding. And oh, our cuts were beautiful. This one's not, it's a little bit crooked. So I'm going to go ahead and trim that off a little bit more here at the top. See if that's better. And a little bit more. Okay, that should be good. Okay. And so that's our two, and then we're going to have pockets and such, and we'll come back to this in a second. But let's work on these other folds. So we're going to go ahead and fold this in and give it a good burnish with the bone folder or whatever you have, like so. That seems to be okay as well. It's not going to go over that though, so that's fine. And then let's go ahead and score on, or burnish this edge. If I can train this paper. There we go. Like so. So I am getting ready to go have my surgery I mentioned in the other video. Today I weighed myself and I'm down 26 pounds in 3 weeks. That's how little I can eat. I'm just not able to eat. And I'm trying to find stuff. I did try some applesauce again. That worked out okay. Some peaches and some oatmeal with blueberries. That's going over okay. Everything upsets my stomach. Some things less than others though. So there we go. This one's a little bit crooked. So you see that? I don't know if you guys can tell. Look at how that's coming over this edge, but this edge is straight, so I'm not sure why that is. We will deal with that. I will deal with that later. I'm not using this one, so I'm not too concerned, but feel free to fiddle with whatever you need to get things to work the way you want them to. So I'm going to do that other little score line, which we'll see how that actually works out in the one I'm working on that we're going to cover. So there we go. It'll be fun. Okay, there we go. So I love the idea. I love what Jeanne, I keep calling her Joan. And when she says her name, it sounds like Joan, but when I look at her YouTube channel, it says Jeanne, G-E-A-N-N-E. So I don't know. So please don't be offended. There we go. So the other thing I did is off of one of my failed ones, I just cut off one of the tabs so that I have kind of a prototype for doing this kind of process. So what I'm doing is I'm setting this on here, and I'm just going to kind of go off to one side here and set that back down, and I'm going to use my pencil and just create that tab shape there. And let's go ahead and use the ruler to make that other part straight here. Hopefully my head isn't getting in shot. There we go. And then you're just going to use your scissors and just cut that out. So give me just a second. Perfect. Love it. I do love that look though. I'm going to go ahead and erase those pencil marks. Okay. Okay, so then we're going to make another one to go behind it. So that's where the other file folder is going to come into play. We're going to make sure that we retain this because we're going to need it. In fact, let's just go ahead and cut it now so that we have that extra edge like this here to go on the front, but we won't put it on yet, but I want to make sure we preserve it. So I'm just going to cut off about that much and then just set this aside. So we will have it. Okay, so then we're going to take some of this file folder and just cut it. I actually probably could use that, couldn't I, for my other one? Yeah, let's go ahead and do that. I'm just going to cut this in half, cut this down here. Because in that one I was using pieces from all the failed attempts that I had made, so I don't think I had one of these left. So let's use that, see if what we need to do here. So it's going to go in here. I almost, well, I want to stick to what I did on the prototype, so on the one that we're going to actually be doing. So I'm going to set that there, and I'm going to mark the width here. And then we'll talk about the height here in a second. It could be taller. Maybe we'll make this one a little bit of a taller pocket here. We can do that. Just moving this down so that I can see it better. Looks like to be even and in the middle. Okay, there we go. So I don't want it to be too tall though, because that would be weird. I don't think our bottom is straight, so we're going to want to fix that. So let's cut off about this much. Of course, you can decide that for yourself. Okay, So that is the second one. So what you would do, I'm not going to show you how to do this because we'll be doing it on the other one, but basically you would glue this on 2 sides. You'd glue this on 3 sides, so this and this and this, and that would and then you'd cover it and all that, and you've got your 2 pockets. So that is that. And then here I just did staggered pockets. So we've got this one here, and can we use any of these extras? I don't think so because they're cut down. I'm not sure how she did that because I don't remember if she actually used the pieces or not, but we're just going to get 2 more pieces that are the exact same size as this. So I am going to just set that in there like that. I don't like to measure, so when I can avoid that, I do. So I'm just going to go like that, and I'm going to go like that, and we're going to cut 2 of those. So let me grab the cutter again, back and forth we go. And give that a trim. Boy, that is crooked. Wow. I don't think I've ever noticed these file folders being this crooked. So we're going to have to take another peek at this because this looks kind of wonky. I mean, they don't have, oh, they seem fine though. No, they're not. It's a little bit crooked, but you would want to even those up. So I'm just going to cut 1 more of these, and then we will finish up. And I'm just going to use my scissors here. This one, maybe not. I really want that to be straight. Not sure why it's not. Let's just use the scissors here. And so what I did is I cut all of my thumb notches at the same time so that they would all be in the same place. It does take a little bit of muscles. I need to grab my circle punch here. Hold on. So I just kind of line them up here and punch them all at the same time. It is a little thick, so you do need to make sure you ate your spinach. There we go. Pieces flying everywhere. So that is essentially it. So then you've got this pocket, which you would glue on 2 sides, and then you could stagger this one here, here, and then here, and you would glue those up accordingly, so that you've got 3 pockets here, 2 pockets here. And then as I'm going to do probably in the decorating is I will put belly bands or something over here probably. So that is that. So let's, where'd my other file folder thingy go? Did I put it somewhere? I want to make sure I don't lose that. Was it this one? Yeah, goes there. So now if you fold this up, so this is what it looks like. And you might notice that you've got this overhang here. Okay, but which is totally fine because you could put like a really pretty piece of lace under here, but I love her idea of adding the file folder bit to that edge, so we're going to do that today. So I am going to position this up here. We can cut off the excess off of the top or the bottom, whatever we end up with. So I'm going to get my I think I'm going to use Fabri-Tac just because I like the ability to move it and adjust it. So we're just going to put some here if it'll come out. And then we'll be done for today, and in part 2 we will start putting all of our papers on. I'm so excited about this this kit, this creator. Amazing, amazing. Oh, come on. There we go. So you're basically, oh, we have to put our seam reinforcers. I'm so sorry, guys, we're not done. I want to show you that part too. So just just going to put this down and just judge like how far up you want your tab to be. I think I want it about right there. So I'm just going to give that a press. I like to pick it up just to make sure that it's even on the other side and we don't have any overhang, like so. Awesome. Okay, so let's just trim that off. You do want to be careful because obviously Fabri-Tac is still wet and could be moved inadvertently. There we go. So that is that. And so what I learned, and as I was thinking through this, is you want to make sure that you reinforce your folds before you glue any of this stuff in. So I'm so glad that I was cognizant enough to remember that, especially in my current state. So basically I have some Tyvek envelopes. So I'm just going to bring my cutter over here, and I'm going to use this side because this has got a funny fold there, overlap. So I'm just going to cut a few strips. They do not have to be exact, don't worry. Okay, and one's going to be bigger than the middle one is going to be bigger, so that'll make more sense here in a second. And one more. Just trying to get it sort of even though, so it's not all wonky. And this is just going to help to stabilize those folds, because we are going to, I completely forgot the most important part, is we are going to be putting a signature in here. Now what Jeanne did is she actually put eyelets in, and because I think she was doing an elastic binding. I don't want to do an elastic binding. I've done that before. I don't know if I did it wrong, but I didn't like it. So I'm going to actually stitch in my signature here. Might have two signatures. We might have two smaller signatures in here, but that's the plan as well. So let's go ahead and get this on. And then I didn't ink this yet. I'll do that off camera, but you'll want to like fold these back and ink that, because that white will show if your because your papers cannot cover every little millimeter of space. So that's just something to keep in mind. So we're going to go ahead and start with this edge over here. And again, I'm going to use my Fabri-Tac. It was a little bit too wide. Oh well. We'll deal with it. I probably should grab a paper towel here so that I can wipe that off. So I'm bringing it up here from the bottom so it's not in the way of that pocket folding up. Yeah, it's just for reinforcement there. Okay, I'm going to grab a paper towel here. Okay, let's move on to the center, which is our bigger one, a wider one. Should maybe have made this one a little bit wider. In fact, I might, because I really want it to cover more. Well, yeah, I'm just going to show you the right way to do this, because you want it to actually capture, I would think, all of those score lines. So we're going to go ahead and I'm just going to cut this down a little bit more, a little bit here. This is doubled now, so which is not a bad thing for that center spine. So we're just going to put this in here. Actually, will this come apart? I feel like it's too much. There we go. Oh, don't ruin it, Cara-Renee. I think you just did. Oh well. So I'm just going to put it over so it's hanging over the all the score lines there. So that's going to be fine, because I'm also putting in the one we're working on, I took a piece of file folder and I covered it with some paper, so this will also go in that space. That will help to stabilize it, so it's going to be okay. There we go. So let's do this last one on the final. Again, just butting that up to the bottom, so it's not infringing on that the pocket that's going to fold up. Okay, and I'm not going to glue this one because if I want to use it for something else, I want to be able to measure and do all that stuff that I did on my other one. So I'm just going to trim off this excess. Scissors are hard today, apparently. There we go. So there we have it. I think we covered everything that was important. And the rest of it we will do together on the other one. So in terms of like what we decide for a closure and that kind of thing will be in the next video. So thank you guys so much for coming along, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care. Bye-bye.